He's mine, idiots. By Julietroses. Shouto was woken from his peaceful dream about a beach filled with baby turtles by the incessant buzzing of a phone on a wobbly nightstand. He groaned loudly, blindly grasping for the phone to silence the evil device. "Who's calling this fucking early in the morning?" Katsuki asked sleepily. He was lying to Shouto's right, with their cat Bomb sleeping happily on his stomach. The blonde groaned as he noticed what was pinning him to his place. Hellish beast. The orange cat didn't seem bothered by the noise like her humans were, nor did she care about Katsuki's irritation. "I don't know," Shouto replied, sounding just as tired. "It might be an emergency." "Fucking inconsiderate villains attacking at fucking—" Katsuki pushed himself up, checking the digital alarm clock on their bedside table. 6:30 in the morning. It wasn't absurdly early. Normally they would both be up by 5 a.m., ready to start their day. But this year they'd finally managed to both change their days off to Tuesdays. Now, for the first time in their lives, they had a day where they could sleep in. And they'd embraced the opportunity with both arms, making this wake-up call extremely unwelcome. Shouto sighed. "Go back to sleep, Suki." By now, Shouto had seen the name displayed on his phone screen, lessening some of his worries. "It's just Midoriya." "Fucking Deku," was all Katsuki managed to groan out before falling back asleep. Soft snores filled the room not 5 seconds later, Bomb moving up and down on the blonde's stomach with every deep breath. Shouto pressed accept, lowered the call volume, and pressed the phone to his ear. "Midoriya?" "Todoroki-kun, have you seen the news?" Midoriya asked, sounding hurried and stressed. "No," he replied, confused and still very tired. "It's early," he might have whined. "Oh," a brief silence. "It's your day off, isn't it?" Shouto nodded before he remembered Midoriya couldn't see him and voiced his confirmation. "Shoot, I'm so sorry, Todoroki-kun. Sometimes I forget both you and Kat-chan have Tuesdays off, so I saw Tuesday and thought that's Kat-chan's day off and forgot you. I'm horrible. I should have double-checked first. Now I've ruined your morning and your well-needed rest. You know how important a good—" "It's fine," Shouto interrupted the sea of mumblings before it could continue any further. "Why'd you call? What happened on the news?" There was a long pause again. "It's bad, Todoroki-kun." Shouto suddenly felt a lot more awake. He sat up properly on the futon, really regretting the lack of a headboard to lean against. Katsuki seemed to notice his shift in positions because he woke up again with a soft, "Everything right?" Shouto could only shrug in response, not knowing the answer himself yet. "What happened on the news, Midoriya?" he asked through the phone. "You remember our fight yesterday, against the villain with the slicing quirk?" Shouto had to stifle a groan at the reminder. It was not a fight he remembered fondly. Yesterday's villain had been a young woman with a strong slicing quirk. He and Midoriya had been lucky to escape with all their limbs still intact. The woman had only needed to touch someone with 2 fingers and a cut would appear on the place of the touch, and the longer she held the touch, the deeper the cut. Fortunately, Shouto and Midoriya had apprehended her after both suffering only 2 deep cuts, the rest of the damage being superficial red lines or cuts in their clothing. The deep cuts had been healed with the help of a healing quirk soon after, sending Shouto home relatively unscathed except for his ruined hero costume. "She was arrested, right?" Shouto wondered. "Don't tell me she escaped and we need to catch her again." "No, nothing of the sort," Midoriya reassured immediately, "but apparently she managed to cut your hero suit above your left thigh." "Oh." At first Shouto felt relieved. He had already notified the support department yesterday about him needing a new suit. One more cut really didn't change anything. He could only cherish the fact that he didn't need to go out and fight the woman again. That was before he remembered what was placed just above his left thigh, and suddenly the reason for Midoriya's call became very clear. "Shit," he gasped, hand going to his Soulmark, his very private Soulmark. "What?" Katsuki asked, looking more awake by the minute. "I'm so sorry, Todoroki-kun. The paparazzi managed to get a photo of your Soulmark and it's all over the internet." Midoriya apologized at the same time. His voice sounded heartbroken, probably unable to even imagine what it would feel like to have the most private part of your life posted on the internet like this. "They outed it?" Shouto whispered, ignoring the increasingly worried glances Katsuki kept sending him. "Yes, but the agency is on it. They sent out a statement asking people to please delete the pictures and to respect your privacy. Of course there are too many bad apples on the internet for that to work, but they're working on forcefully deleting most of the leaked pictures." Midoriya sighed deeply. "It's just... Don't get your hopes up, Todoroki-kun. Trying to delete all the pictures is like chasing the wind. We'll always be one step behind. We'll never be able to prevent people from posting the pictures. We can only delete them afterwards. The pictures will always exist. I know, it's not your fault, Midoriya. I should have covered it up with tape instead of putting all my trust in my suit. He rubbed his face in frustration, not liking the turn the early morning had taken. I appreciate your attempt. Always, came the reply. Do you need something? Want me to come over? No, I'm fine. You really shouldn't be alone right now. Shouto looked to his right, where the blonde was still waiting for an explanation, red eyes wide open and concerned. I'm not alone, he said through the phone. Midoriya gasped. You aren't? No, Shouto sighed. It was 6 a.m, and he and his soulmate both had the day off. Of course he wasn't alone. I'm going to go now, okay? Thanks for everything, Midoriya. Yes, of course. Curiosity dripped from the green-haired man's voice, noticeable even through the phone. Shouto knew the hero probably wanted to know more, probably wanted to share his analysis on his Soulmark, but was respecting his privacy, for which Shouto was very grateful. Are you sure you're fine, though? You can tell me anything, okay? I'm fine. This really doesn't matter. It doesn't? No. But people online are claiming to be your soulmate. Photos of your mark on random strangers are popping up left and right. That won't be a problem. I'll talk to you later, Midoriya. Are you sure? I'm sure. Okay. A brief silence fell over the line before an unsatisfied bye followed. Bye. Sho, what's going on? Katsuki asked as soon as Shouto ended the call. Shouto quickly opened his news app, clicking on the first article and turned his screen towards the blonde. Is that? Katsuki started, looking at the screen. Yeah, Shouto breathed. It is. There, on his phone, the headline, Who's the Lucky Girl? The number 2 hero's Soulmark Revealed, screamed in their face. Below it was a picture of 2 very familiar black koi fish swimming upstream in perfect direction. Fuck. Yeah, he chuckled humorously. Fuck. Babe, you've got like a million notifications, Katsuki said, bringing attention to the red icons above his social media apps. Shouto really didn't want to see those right now. Nevertheless, not one for procrastination, he clicked on Instagram first. As they watched the app trying to load the insane number of messages, Katsuki's phone started to buzz on his nightstand. It's edgy. I'll text him later. Look at all these posts. Shouto showed Katsuki a few posts he was tagged in. All included girls with his soul mark down on their thighs, most not even in the right place and still claiming to be a soulmate. How did they even manage to fake it already? Fucking callous extras, Katsuki cursed, taking Shouto's phone and scrolling through a few. Most don't even look good. They're all fake as fuck. Just eyeliner and shitty line work. He returned the phone to Shouto. Fucking idiots. Shouto turned his phone off with a sigh. Well, that's out now. Fucking paparazzi. They're all shitty leeches. Shouto nodded. It was the truth after all. But there was no use in dwelling in the past. What had happened, happened. No need in letting it ruin their morning. Want to try sleeping in? Would love to, Katsuki grinned, pulling him in to kiss his temple. Put your phone on silent. Already fucking done, the blonde replied, throwing his phone on a pile of clothes in the corner of the room. Did you talk to Todoroki, Deku-kun? Ochako asked as she walked into Izuku's office. Izuku checked the time. 1 o'clock. It was time for their daily lunch date. He started clearing his desk of the piles of paperwork, answering her in the process. Yeah, it was weird. Well, Ochako sighed sadly, I mean his soul mark got leaked. I would probably be freaked out too. No, not freaked out weird, more, Izuku searched for the right word, more indifferent weird. Indifferent? Are you sure? I don't know, Midoriya groaned. Maybe it was shock. It was probably shock, right? Probably, Ochako responded. I mean, the most private part of yourself just got leaked for the entire world to see. He might never be able to trust a person's soul mark again. Who knows who might fake it to bag the number 2 hero? Ochako said sympathetically. Describe it to me. How did he react? He was shocked at first, but didn't say a lot. Of course, Todoroki-kun has never been a man of many words, and he was tired, so that might have all added up. But after I told him, he seemed kind of accepting, not stressed out by the consequences at all. Like, at all? Ochako asked, eyebrows raised. Not at all. I thought he might be on some kind of emotional shock, or he might have been trying to hide his feelings like he did back at UA. Ochako nodded. understandingly. They all remembered the boy Todoroki had once been. Izuku hoped above all that this wouldn't make him regress back to the level of emotional repression he'd had in UA. Yet the seriousness of this situation just might be what would do it. Izuku sighed. Todoroki was the last person he would ever want this to happen to. There was one more thing he needed to tell Ochako, though. "It gets even weirder," he starts. "After I asked him if he was truly fine or if he wanted company, he told me he wasn't alone." Now Ochako's eyebrows reached the sky. This was proper gossip material. "Wait, what? When was this?" she gasped. "Around 6:30 in the morning. On his day off, no less." "Oh my gosh, he spent the night with someone," Ochako squealed. "Our Todoroki has found someone, finally." Izuku laughed. "We don't know the full story yet. It might have been a one-night stand." "After a long and hard patrol like the one you described yesterday?" "I don't think so, Deku-kun. I don't think anyone would have the energy to pick up a one-night stand after that." "Friend with benefits?" "Todoroki-kun. He probably never heard of the concept." Izuku sighed. She was right. All evidence pointed to Todoroki being in a relationship. That might also be why he doesn't care that much about his Soulmark being exposed. "You think he found his soulmate?" "I don't know. He would have told us, right? But maybe it's someone he wouldn't mind spending his life with, soulmate or not." Ochako cheered, clapping her hands together in excitement. "I'm so happy for him." "We don't know anything for sure yet," Izuku reminded her with a chuckle. "He might really have been in shock." That sobered her up a little. "Shit, you're right. Should we visit him today? Make sure he's okay?" Izuku smiled at the idea. They could make it a movie night, invite their small group of friends and just share all the horrible things the press has done to them since they've become pro-heroes. A misery shared is a misery halved or something along those lines. Although Todoroki's experience would probably top the list, overshoot it by 100 miles even. But Todoroki would probably appreciate it and could likely use the distraction. "Let's visit him tonight. When we get off, we can also invite Ida and Asui." "Sounds good. I'll text them." Ochako had her phone in her hands before she even finished, thumbs moving across the screen faster than the eye could follow. "I'll check with Todoroki," he said, also pulling his phone from his pocket and opening the message center. To Todoroki. "Hi, Ochako and I were wondering if you're up for a movie night at your place this evening. We can invite Ida and Asui too." His phone buzzed with a message not a second later. From Todoroki. "Hello, Midoriya. Sounds good. Would you mind if we also invite the Baku squad?" Izuku frowned at the message. Why would Todoroki want to invite the Baku squad? He relayed the question to Ochako, who also frowned but didn't seem to mind. She'd always been of the opinion the more the merrier. To Todoroki-kun. "Of course. I'd love to see them again. Do you want me to invite them?" From Todoroki-kun. "Hello, Midoriya. No, Bakugo will take care of that. Thanks for offering. I'll see you tonight." Izuku had to stifle a giggle at the message. Todoroki still had perfect grammar and punctuation in every text message. They had barely been able to get him to stop closing his every message by signing his name. The content of the message was still a bit confusing, though. Izuku didn't know how Kacchan would take care of it. He could only assume Todoroki would invite him first. "Did you get the food ready? They should be here any minute now," Shouto shouted towards the kitchen, where the sound of a knife aggressively cutting vegetables could still be heard growing strong. "Fucking almost. I still don't know why we have to give the idiots food. They fucking invited themselves over. Let them bring their own snacks." Katsuki huffed from the kitchen. "You can't have guests over without offering them refreshments. It's one of the things my mum and Fuyumi taught me from a very young age," Shouto replied as he made his way into the kitchen. There, Katsuki was putting some freshly cut bell peppers into a little bowl before starting on cleaning the mess he'd left behind. Shouto was about to grab a small piece just to taste when he noticed the rest of the bowls. He took in their small kitchen, wide-eyed. All of their counter space had been taken up by a bowl upon bowl filled with everything you could imagine. It went from fancy dip sauces to delicious-smelling marinated vegetables to even some sushi rolls and fried meats. "You did all this?" Shouto wondered, not knowing when the blonde could have created this food heaven. "You made cold soba?" "You put me in charge of the snacks?" Katsuki responded, sounding slightly confused. "I thought you'd prepare some baby greens and maybe open a bag of popcorn or chips," Shouto protested, still watching the five-star restaurant that had once been their kitchen. This would put even Fuyumi to shame. "Have you seen those fucking idiots eat? And I'm not going to feed them something unhealthy like shitty artificial chips or popcorn. They probably eat too much of that as is." Katsuki blushed as he took in the kitchen. most likely only just realizing he might have gone a bit overboard. It's just fucking weird, you know, the blonde defended. I don't think we've ever had our friends over while we were both at home at the same time. Shouto frowned. That couldn't be true, right? But as he dug through his memories to prove the contrary, he came up blank. He couldn't remember ever being home when Katsuki had his so-called Baku squad over, and if his friends were visiting, Katsuki would always be out with his friends or working. He always prepared his own snacks, which turned out to be a great tragedy in comparison to the master standing in front of him. You're right, Shouto conceded, wonder filling his voice. And we haven't even done it on purpose, he said as he grabbed a mixing bowl and started rinsing it off. Katsuki nodded while handing him a new dish and taking the bowl from his hands to put it in the dishwasher. Soon they got into a familiar rhythm, dancing around each other in a familiar cleaning routine and clearing out the kitchen in record time. And they finished just in time too, because not a minute later their doorbell rang to indicate the first visitors had arrived. You buzz them up, Katsuki directed to him. I'll quickly grab some extra blankets and pillows from our bedroom. Some people will have to sit on the floor, he said, pointedly glancing towards their couch, which seemed awfully small right now. 15 minutes later, and everyone had arrived and gotten seated around their television, just catching up with each other. Laughter and conversation filled the cozy apartment. On the couch, Bomb seemed to have made himself comfortable on Yorarika's lap, purring loudly. Can I help? Midoriya asked as he watched him and Katsuki carry in dish after dish to put on their small coffee table. You can fucking help carry this, Deku, Katsuki replied before Shouto could say anything. And while Shouto's response would have come down to the same thing, he would have asked using kinder words. In the end, when Midoriya looked at him for confirmation, Shouto just nodded. Midoriya got up with a grin, excusing himself from the conversation with Kirishima, Kaminari, and Asui. He entered the kitchen with wide eyes. You made all this? He asked Shouto. Shouto lifted his eyebrows. No, Katsuki did, he answered, tone slightly confused. I can't cook. I know you can't cook, Midoriya chuckled, before the rest of the sentence seemed to soak in. Kat-chan cooked for us. You call him Katsuki? Don't fucking call me Katsuki, shitty nerd, Katsuki said as he entered the kitchen with Kirishima in tow, only catching the tail end of the conversation. A warm hand landed on his shoulder, and purely out of reflex, Shouto turned around immediately to check the source. It was Kirishima, face sympathetic. I saw the news. I can't believe people would do something like that. Take a picture of something so incredibly personal and post it online. I'm really sorry, bro. People are fucking trash, Katsuki added for good measure. It's okay, I'm fine, Shouto said for what felt like the millionth time today. Midoriya looked disbelievingly. The agency is doing everything they can to stop the spread, Todoroki-kun. Don't worry, and we're taking all reported soul matches seriously, checking up on them and making sure the soul marks are real. All have turned out to be fake so far, but maybe something good will come out of this, he reported passionately. This was the first major incident to happen with one of the heroes assigned to his agency. He probably wanted to resolve this as professionally as possible. Still, Shouto really couldn't help but wonder why he was doing this. It's not like he still needed to find his soulmate. He knew all the girls online with the drawn-on koi fish were fake. He voiced his confusion with a simple, why? Head tilted slightly. Midoriya seemed struck speechless, eyes widening. Before the green-haired man could even say something, Ashido joined them in the kitchen. It's so nice of you to offer your apartment for this little get-together, Bakabro. Kaminari followed behind her. Yes, I've always loved your apartment so much. It's so spacious. Ooh, is that gyoza? The man finished distractedly, already picking at some snacks. Stay away from the fucking food, Pikachu, Katsuki screamed angrily, and Shouto felt like he should have warned Kaminari about that. This is Todoroki's apartment, Midoriya said, turning to Kaminari and Ashido confused. At the exact same time, Katsuki said, and what the fuck do you mean offering up my apartment? This is our fucking apartment. He gestured aggressively between himself and Shouto. Wait, what? All current residents in the apartment screamed in unison, both the people still in the living room and those in the kitchen. But Katsuki wasn't done yet. And fuck off, Deku. Why the fuck would you screen the soul marks of all those fucking fakes when Shouto has found his soulmate ages ago? Of course they're all fucking fake, shitty fangirls. Katsuki raged. Shouto smiled contently, letting Katsuki have the word. As he scanned the faces around them, he started to notice a common theme. Surprise. Why was everyone around them watching them wide-eyed and mouth agape? Midoriya? He questioned, when he noticed how the man's brain seemed to have short-circuited. Katsuki growled, waving a hand up and down in front of Midoriya's face, trying to get a response. Kat-chan? Midoriya sputtered. Kat-chan and Todoroki? It didn't seem to compute much farther than that. That was the moment Ashido and Kirishima squealed, "Oh my gosh!" They screamed at each other. "Bakuro has found his soulmate!" Shouto and Katsuki looked at each other as chaos unfolded around them. He recognized the expression of Katsuki's face as exasperated disbelief. Shouto shared the feeling. "You didn't know?" he asked no one in particular. "No one can be that oblivious," Katsuki protested. "No!" Midoriya gasped. "Why didn't you tell me? How long have you known? This is so exciting. My two friends are soulmates." "This is perfect. I should have known. Why didn't I know?" The man switched between being affronted to surprised to excited like they were going out of style. Meanwhile, Shouto was really starting to get confused. The soul-bonded pair had never intentionally hidden their relationship. They'd thought everyone knew from the moment Shouto's Soulmark presented on his 17th birthday. That's when they'd known, at least, attracted to each other by the magnetic pull of two matching soulmarks, before getting the universe's confirmation through a spark searing through their body upon physical touch. They'd started their relationship from that point on and never stopped. Sure, they both hated PDA, so they never touched much in public, but Shouto had thought their relationship would be obvious from their stories, their emotional attachment to each other, and their moving in together. But apparently even that had been a mystery to the classmates who were supposed to be trained heroes. Katsuki was clearly reaching the same conclusion because he started laughing, loudly. "You're all even dumber than I thought," he barely managed to say between fits of laughter. Shouto couldn't help the small chuckle that escaped him. Katsuki's laughter had always been infectious. Midoriya glanced between the both of them, the corners of his mouth rising before he got himself under control again. "No, don't laugh! Guys, explain this!" "We're fucking married," Katsuki gasped while still laughing uproariously. The blonde pulled his ring up from where it was hidden beneath his shirt on a small silver chain. "Idiots! I'm surrounded by idiots!" he cackled as he watched the disbelieving faces around him. "Todoroki-kun?" Midoriya asked, like he was still expecting them to scream April Fools, even though it was the 18th of September. Shouto only lifted an identical ring from beneath his shirt, trying to look apologetic, but he suspected he, too, wasn't able to hide his smirk. "My apologies, Midoriya," Shouto started, but he was interrupted with a "Don't fucking apologize" by a certain blonde. Shouto ignored Katsuki. They often ignored each other's stupidity. That's why their relationship worked. "We honestly thought everyone knew. We got together back in UA and expected the change in our relationship to be obvious to everyone around us. Apparently we were wrong." Shouto shrugged, face passive. "We moved in together after high school, went through a few apartments together until we found this place. We thought you knew this, but that, too, seemed to have been a miscalculation. We only realized today that we'd never had anyone over while we were both home." "Deku, you must have realized we shared the same shitty apartment, right?" Katsuki jumped in, suddenly also interested in solving the great mystery of how they managed to unintentionally hide a relationship of 10 years. "No!" Midoriya cried. "I've never seen Katsun's apartment before. We've always met either at my place, the office, or somewhere public. I've always wanted to see your home." Katsuki and Shouto exchanged a look, both wondering how this could possibly have happened. Shouto felt like he was the unwilling protagonist of an unrealistic television drama like the ones Fuyumi liked to watch. How could this be his life right now? Kirishima seemed to be ready to ask the real questions, though. "Why didn't you invite us to your wedding?" he whined loudly. "We didn't invite anyone. We wanted to keep it private since it was only for the fucking government documents. You know, taxes and shit. Everything is cheaper after you're fucking married," Katsuki explained. And wow, Shouto rolled his eyes. His husband could be incredibly romantic. "Don't fucking get started, half and half," Katsuki said, noticing the eye roll. "You didn't want an official ceremony either. We didn't need a fucking audience watching us kissing and exchanging vows to prove we'd love each other. We fucking know that already." The room collectively awed. "So don't fucking get started." "My parents and Shoto's siblings already get on our case enough for depriving them of a romantic wedding." Katsuki made air quotes around the words. "Your families know?" Kaminari gasped. "Of course they fucking know we're married, for fuck's sake. We thought you knew too. It's on all of our personal files at our agencies, one of which is your fucking agency, Deku." Katsuki started to sound exasperated, and Shouto could relate, especially when he noticed Midoriya's eyes starting to water. Shouto had always been uncomfortable with people crying. He turned to Katsuki for support, hoping he could handle the green-haired man. He had the most years of experience, after all. "Don't fucking cry, shitty nerd," seemed to be Katsuki's solution. I'm just so happy for you, Midoriya blubbered. He pulled Shouto in, hugging him very tightly, sometimes still unused to the strength of his quirk. Shouto stood there awkwardly, not really knowing what to do in this situation. Katsuki only laughed in his face. Shouto started patting Midoriya's back. Thank you. You never talked about dating and neither did Katchan. I was afraid you were feeling lonely or something, but this is the best news I've gotten in ages. A strong arm went out, wildly grasping air until he hit Katsuki's arm and pulled the man in for an even more awkward three-way hug. Now it was Shoto's turn to laugh at Katsuki's misery, which was clear from the world to see. And I didn't want to mention it, didn't want to be insensitive, but your Soulmark is so beautiful too, Midoriya cried. The koi fish has such a strong symbolism. They describe you two perfectly. Uraraka seemed to take pity on the two men, standing there bewildered as Midoriya's tears started to soak their clothes. Come, Deku-kun, let's release them, okay? She said kindly, pulling him away and earning herself the most grateful look Shouto could manage. Why didn't you say something to the public? Kirishima wondered. Like, Bako bro, you're always bitching about fangirls wasting your time and throwing themselves all over you. One word to the media and everything would be fixed. Shouto smiled at Kirishima's naive optimism. The poor man had just woken the beast. First, I don't fucking bitch, Katsuki screamed angrily. And secondly, fangirls are like parasitic barnacles. They don't fucking care if you're in a relationship. They apparently don't even have the emotional intelligence to understand faking a soulmark is reprehensible. They would cling to you either way. Why the fuck would we sacrifice our privacy for something pointless? Shouto nodded, completely satisfied with Katsuki's explanation. But right now, this could fix everything, Midoriya gasped. I mean, if you're okay with sacrificing some privacy in order to help Todoroki, Katchan. I will always fucking help Shouto. Who the fuck do you take me for? A selfish coward? No, never. Katchan is so brave and selfless. The whole apartment chuckled at the classic Midoriya line. How can I help, shitty nerd? Oh, right, Midoriya smiled. If you guys post your relationship on your social media, it will probably stop most of the fake soul marks on the current speculation on Todoroki's soulmate. Sure, you will both be in the media for the next few weeks. This will be big news, but at least it will be something that's actually true. Something you've released on your own account. We'll be able to take back control, have all the power. Katsuki grinned smugly, rubbing his hands together like he was a supervillain. Yes, exactly, Deku cheered. This sounds like a very sensible plan, Ida added from where he was standing in the door opening of their small kitchen. Apparently, everyone had wormed themselves into the small room since the reveal happened. Shouto awkwardly tried to shuffle around a bit, trying to create more room. He was pulled into Katsuki's side for his efforts. You up for it? Katsuki asked him softly. Sure, I never cared about what they said about me anyways, he replied with a smile. Let's fucking do it. Katsuki immediately grabbed his phone, opening his camera app. Put on your fucking ring and smile, idiot, he ordered Shouto. Shouto smiled contentedly, putting his wedding band on and lifting his hand. A flash filled the kitchen. Wait, are you going to publish that now? Midoriya sputtered. What, you wanted to fucking wait? Katsuki threw back, putting on the ring aggressively and lifting his hand. Take the fucking picture, half and half. Shouto grabbed his phone and took a picture, posting it to his social media without a second thought. In the caption he wrote, This is my husband and soulmate, Bakugo Katsuki. He tagged Dynamite in the photo. Wait, shouldn't you have that checked over by the PR team? Midoriya asked, his voice stressed as he jumped between them two, trying to check both their phones. That's all you're saying, Todoroki-kun. Do I need to say anything else? Shouto wondered. He'd said everything necessary, right? He never understood the essay-length captions some people wrote. What more could he say but the truth? Looks fucking good, babe, Katsuki assured. That earned the blonde a sweet smile. Wait, no, Katchan, you can't say that on your public profile. Midoriya screamed suddenly, trying to rip the phone from the blonde's hands. No, don't press post. Ah, Katchan, you didn't. I did, Katsuki grinned. That evening, both their friend groups enjoyed a good old Disney marathon, but beyond their little world, the internet collectively exploded. Not about the post of the number 2 hero Shouto. No, the honour of breaking the internet went to Dynamite, the number 3 hero. He'd posted a cute picture of a smiling Shouto holding up his wedding band, surrounded by friends. The caption simply said, Fuck off, he's mine, idiots. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry it took me so long to upload again. I don't really have an excuse. And hello to the new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. And I hope to see you all next time. Bye.